All right. We are in the book of Luke, and we're looking at characteristics of Luke, special emphases. And let me just first of all tell you that I have had a problem with the internet here, and it keeps knocking me off. So if it happens, I'll just reconnect and we'll keep going. The Lord willing, everything will go well. We are looking at the characteristics of Luke, and we are now on concern for history. Luke takes special care to date the events of his gospel by secular history. If you look at Luke 1:5, and then in 2:1, and then in 3:1 and 2, he tells us when these things happen according to Roman history there. So he tells who was in power, where, and so he gives the setting, the context here in the first century history. So there is a concern for history. Now let's look at Luke's special emphases. First of all, universality. Now, by this, we don't mean that he teaches that everybody's going to be saved, but that God is concerned about everyone, not just a few people, not an elite group, but he's concerned about everyone.
So
First of yes.
hear your voice well ago.
I'm sorry, Citra, what?
I cannot hear your voice well ago.
Can you hear it now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what happened. We'll hope that it continues okay. First of all, he has a concern about the Greco-Roman world. So it's not just the Jewish people, but it is the world at large. He dates the events, as we said before, by secular events, so that you can put it in the context of history. He says that they are to be a light to the Gentiles, or Christ is to be a light to the Gentiles. So here we underscore Gentiles, not just the Jewish world. And in 3:6, and all people will see God's salvation. In the end of chapter 3, in the genealogy of Christ, it goes back to Adam, not just to Abraham. We also, in 24:47, have the Great Commission. Now, in preaching to his hometown in Nazareth, in Luke 4:23-27, this is what it says. Jesus said to them, "Surely you will quote this proverb to me, 'Physician, heal yourself.' And you will tell me, 'Do here in your hometown what we have heard that you did in Capernaum.' Truly I tell you," he continued, "no prophet is accepted in his hometown. I assure you that there were many widows in Israel in Elijah's time, and when the sky was shut for 3.5 years, and there was a severe famine throughout the land, yet Elijah was not sent to any of them, but to a widow in Zarephath in the region of Sidon. And there were many in Israel with leprosy in the time of Elisha the prophet, yet not one of them was cleansed, only Naaman the Syrian. So here he shows how God is concerned about foreigners. The widow of Zarephath is ministered to by Elijah. And Naaman, the Syrian soldier, is healed of leprosy. Not the Jews, but a foreigner. And this quote appears only in Luke. Now, the people of Nazareth didn't like that very much. They were going to kill him, throw him off a high cliff, but he got away from them. But this shows the concern of Jesus for the entire world as underscored in Luke. Secondly, there's a concern for social outcasts. The immoral woman of 736 to 50, the woman who came in and washed Jesus' feet with her hair. And so Jesus is not just concerned about the good people, he's concerned about the bad people as well. Zacchaeus, the story of Zacchaeus appears here in Luke. The story of the repentant thief on the cross is here in Luke. The parable of the prodigal son, the one who goes away and spends all his money. God shows that, Luke shows that God is concerned about him. The repentant toll collector, the Samaritan village, where they go and they don't accept Jesus. Peter and James and John say, Lord, should we call down heaven to consume them? You know, like Elijah did. And he says, no, let them be. The parable of the Good Samaritan. For us, we know this parable so well. Good and Samaritan, those words just go together. But for a first century Jew or a Samaritan, well, a Jew anyway, they would not go together because there was so much hatred between the Samaritans and the Jews. In fact, it would be hard for a Jew to conceive of a good Samaritan. It had to be a bad Samaritan. And yet, Jesus transforms our view of the Samaritans through this parable. And then the leper. There were 10 lepers, you'll remember. Jesus heals all 10, but only one comes back to say thank you. And that one was a Samaritan. So there is a concern for the social outcasts here in Luke. There's also a concern for the poor. In chapter 4, in Nazareth, when Jesus is speaking in the synagogue, he quotes that verse that he came to preach good news to the poor. In 1:52 and 53, it talks about the lowly being exalted. In 6:20, in the equivalent of the Sermon on the Mount there, Jesus says, blessed are the poor, not the poor in spirit, as in Matthew, but blessed are the poor. There are woes against those who are rich and full. Jesus tells us who to invite